Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous night. And the most important updates are coming, most probably important and funny updates are coming from United States of America. We have a lot of talks, a lot of notes, and first we're going to start about the support of the White House. And according to John Kirby, the United States is unable to give Ukraine any guarantees regarding further assistance in the light of the position of the Congress. So just like weight position of the White House, but for example, when talking about Lloyd Austin, he probably told a little bit more than he could. For example, according to information we have, the Biden administration is openly threatening Americans over Ukraine, according to Tucker Carlson. He wrote on X Twitter that the Biden administration is openly threatening Americans over Ukraine, and in a classified briefing in the House yesterday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin informed members that if they don't appropriate more money for Zelensky, then Lloyd Austin, probably personally himself, will send your uncles, cousins, and sons to fight Russia. And when talking about that post, it's very interesting because even Elon Musk noted that situation. For example, this is the post, and Elon Musk retweeted, he really said this, and Tucker Carlson confirmed, yes, he really did confirm. So obviously we need to add Tucker Carlson to this map. When talking about the common situation, of course, we have geolocated video, very popular video these days on the border between California and Nevada. We have Sierra Army Depot. On these scenes, on this footage, you can see the United States armored vehicles. Probably we can have an opinion, and that these endless warehouses, endless depots, significant number of tanks, armored vehicles, Abrams, Bradleys, Strikers, and so on. And the sources are saying that there are more than 20,000 of this type of machines and tanks. But the question is, why the United States of America can't send these armored vehicles? Some of them are very old, to Ukraine. And the logic is very simple. Because, like a funny joke probably, for example, Global Thinker posted that if Putin wins in Ukraine, he will attack NATO countries. And this is NATO logic, for example. But if Ukraine becomes a NATO member, Putin won't attack Ukraine because he would be scared to attack a NATO country. So very interesting and very complicated logic, but it's like the same logic that we saw in the February of 2022 when Vladimir Putin attacked Ukraine because he wanted to attack first and not to allow the Ukrainians to attack first. So something like this. Now we're moving to the situation in Ukraine, to more closer things, and we'll first of all let's discuss the Ukrainian information regarding the Russian possibilities and Russian production capabilities. And according to information we have, just one Russian military plant that specialized on production of different types of rounds is able to produce 1,250,000 rounds per year. This is not the total Russian possibilities. Obviously they do have more plans. For now I don't have this information, but it's very interesting. But just for comparison, one Russian plant can produce 1,250,000. If you remember, European Union promised the Ukrainians to send them 1 million, but they haven't managed to produce even like a half of this number. So one Russian plant can produce more than almost the entire European Union. Now let's move to the situation on the ground. We have a lot of interesting updates and details. And for example, the first we got from somewhere in Odessa area. The Ukrainians published the video footage of the plant or production center where they can produce the Navy drones. On this video we see significant number of Ukrainian Navy drones that probably soon we're gonna see in action somewhere in the Black Sea. And another important thing that you need to understand, that something changed today, not just today, yesterday in the evening, and I connect the changes with the situation on the Polish border. For example, if you remember, yesterday we have already discussed the video that we got, that Ukrainians found a solution how to transfer the necessary parts for the military using the railways. And for example, during the previous night we got a lot of geolocations from the Ukrainian side of the usage of FPV drones. We got the video of that Navy drones like storage and so on. So as I understand, the Ukrainians found a solution how to continue supporting of their army with FPV drones, and the FPV drones got on the combat line, and now we see some intensifying of actions from the Ukrainian side. Let's move to Avdiivka, and for example, just from Avdiivka, we got a lot of cases of FPV drones strikes, probably those FPV drones that arrived in the territory of Ukraine after the Ukrainians found a solution with Poland, with the Poland border. When talking about interesting geolocations and informations, the Russians, as a result of some sources, managed to improve their positions on the north of Stepova and on the west from Krasnogorovka. So they managed just to improve some positions and to capture a few more meters to the north in direction of Очеретовата. The Ukrainians from their side published significant number of FPV drone strikes. Some of them are very angry, so we will not watch them. The interesting one, geolocation we got from the north of Avdiivka. On this video we see how the Russians sent some reinforcements to their edge positions on the north of chemical plant. The Ukrainians, as you can see, were using the FPV drones with night vision equipment, and when they let's say discovered Russians or allow them to enter the ambush, they start bombing and attacking them with mortars. So once again, the Ukrainians now also have the FPV drones with night vision equipment, also probably significant number. And we start receiving these updates, a significant number of dates after the Ukrainians managed to solve the issue with Poland on the border. The Russians published the video how they managed to repair the Western Bradley. On this video we see probably the Bradley that was captured a few days ago by the Russians in Stepovo, Krasnogorovka, North Avdiivka direction. This, as you can see, Bradley was repaired, and now the Russians can operate and use this Bradley also against the Ukrainian forces. From the southern direction we also got few updates, and the Syriac map has already updated, and according to him the Russians managed to establish control over a few positions in this area. So if we summarize the updates for yesterday and today, according to different sources, the Russians managed to establish control over this territory. For now we are not going to change the color of this territory. We need more geolocations or more updates, or at least few more days, and after that we're gonna update this area as well if we continue receiving the updates from this territory. Now we are moving to the south, and the Ukrainians also published more, continue publishing more and more videos of FPV drone strikes against the Russian armored vehicles. So we see that something, as you can see, something changed, and maybe this will a little bit make a difficult situation for the Russians on the ground. Now we are moving to the north and we're going to talk about Avdiivka direction. We got not Avdiivka, Bakhmut, Artyomovsk direction. We got also a lot of updates. According to information we have, the Russians managed completely establish control over the 215.7 hill over this territory. Some Russian sources are saying that not the entire fortification area was captured, just a few percent of this territory is still under Ukrainian control, maybe some edge positions in the vicinity of this forest. But anyway, we can say that the days of Ukrainians in this area are numbered. The Russians continue the active storming operation of the Dacha and residential area in the west of Bakhmut, and also, as I understand, the days of this fortification area are also numbered. And the same story from the northern part. According to Rybar, the Russian military expert, the Russians have just completed the clearing operation of the Ukrainian fortifications on the north of Kromovo. So as I understand, according to Rybar, currently this territory, I will add this on map, is also under complete Russian control as of 8th of December. I'll remind you that there are still one big Ukrainian fortification area stronghold in this area, and this is going to be probably the next target and goal for the Russians for the next few days and maybe even a week. But anyway, the Russians will continue attacking, and now, according to our understanding, according to the topographical map, the Russians started the clashes for the hills. There are 3 hills. One of the hills was already captured. We're talking about Klishchevka, and 2 more left on the north of Bogdanovka and on the south of Bogdanovka and the vicinity of the Pitomnik and Khromovo. Furthermore, we got few updates from Orekhovo-Vasilievka direction, Minkovka direction. According to some Russian sources, the Russians also launched an offensive operation in this area, so probably we're going to receive some updates during the day from this direction as well. So the Russians are trying to act along these two roads, Dubovo-Vasilievka-Minkovka and Zaliznyanskaya-Perivylye-Golubovka. So 2 attacks, 2 clearing operations. Currently that's just the first stage with FPV drones, but it's also very important. Once again, we continue receiving lots of updates from the Ukrainian side with the usage of FPV drones. On this video, we see how the Ukrainians had some control or established some FPV drone control over Kreminna. On these scenes, on these footages, we can see FPV drone strikes against the Russian support machines, fuel trucks, and so on, and a lot of them were destroyed during the previous days. And finally, we're getting to the Kupiansk direction. We haven't received anything from this area, just another video of Udai Diary. I'll remind you that the previous day, the 21st day of Udai Diary, ended on the 148 losses on the Ukrainian side. Today, the previous 24 hours was something the 22nd day, and 22nd day finished with 152 losses from the Ukrainian side. So very soon we're going to get to half a battalion, and then obviously the numbers are going to be more interesting with comparison with the current situation. And that's it for the short video. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.